Good morning, good evening, whoever you are, wherever you are, whatever you might be doing. We wish to welcome you to the Silverlight Show. The Silverlight shines to illuminate that which lies hidden in darkness. For those of you joining us today, we welcome you in. This is kind of a supplement to my Nerf gun review. Still have it handy. Two interesting things that happened in that video that I did not expect, but are worth mentioning. And then I'm going to go on to the main subject of this video. God, I did not center that camera well. Anyways, the first thing is, I didn't notice this, but while I was shooting, two darts landed directly underneath my camera. So, had I been shooting at the 9-foot mark, those would have landed squarely in my crotch. Yeah, not exactly a toy at that point, is it, when it can inflict some bodily harm on yourself. The second thing I noticed, and this has been a problem, is that these darts, the dark part down here is actually very hard to find. You have to look for the red. I'm in my living room, which is why you get to see my fine collectibles over here. I'm in my living room and I'm still missing one dart, which is a major problem for them being outside. But I didn't start a whole new video just to talk about that. I made a comment about gun nuts, and I want to differentiate. There's two different types of gun nuts. One of my friends is a collector. Now, the difference between a collector and a mall ninja, in my opinion, is a collector, he actually gets some really interesting weapons in his collection. He has a black powder gun. Fascinating. Those are the old ones where they used to load them from the top and, drop the ball bearing, pack everything in, then, light the match on the side and fire. It's modernized, but still, it's a very interesting experience to have something like that. It's hellish to prepare. It takes like 30 minutes to start the thing set up, but once you got it going, you can start throwing stuff downrange. That is interesting. Whereas then you get the mall ninjas who have their pistol. I'm sorry, I don't have a pistol. Just blam, 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 blam. Oh yeah, I got my Glock 9mm, Walther PPK because they're cool because James Bond got one. Those are the mall ninjas. I do have a problem with mall ninjas. And they're called mall ninjas for an interesting reason. Excuse me. They're the ones that go to the local store, well, not local store, but a mall, and see that set of two katanas. The ones that are, is that a katana and a wakizashi? The double oriental looking swords, let's put it that way. And they buy them and put them on the mantle, and then all of a sudden think they're a swordsman. I'm a fencer. I am a swordsman. I have quality fencing swords. And I have a couple swords that are intended for proper dueling, as in they have a bladed edge. And I look at these mall katanas that people are selling, and they look good. I give them credit. They look good. But realistically, they're pretty useless. One or two good hits on anything, and they're going to fall apart. A real katana is a work of art. And even in Japan, it's hard for them to really tell the difference between a real and a fake one. Unfortunately, in World War II and before that, there was a big difference between an officer's katana and, a non-enlisted officer's katana. An officer's katana was mass-produced and used slightly cheaper metal as compared to, like, a commander or an admiral's katana. And a real katana is carefully blended and folded over and stuff like that. Most of the swords you see in stores are the same way. Yes, it looks like a Scottish claymore, but it's not battle-hardened steel. And that's somewhere where they have to get in there, beat the impurities out, heat it for longer, and make sure it's going to be stronger because it's tested for battle. You get these people, they buy these swords, they hang them up, and they think, oh, I'm the dog's bollocks, to borrow a British expression. Which, I can't really think of a Canadian translation for that, but you know what I'm saying. Anyway, these mall ninjas, like the gentleman who couldn't have hit the target from 9 feet away, or roughly 3 meters, They go out there, they get YouTube channels, and they just think there's something special, and they're not. They don't understand quality. They don't understand practice. Hell, the gun discipline I see on some of these videos. Now, the gentleman over at Forgotten Weapons, I like him because he fires, again, interesting weapons that history is mostly forgotten. And when he's on the range, I was watching him. Now, when he was firing, I thought the range officer came over a little early, but that's a judgment call. The weapon had been discharged, and I had only seen the gun fired one. He did a whole pace of 6 targets, and he's going from one to another, reloading, firing. And what I noticed was the range safety officer was bringing him his next clip. So when I saw that, I'm like, oh, this is actually really well organized range. Most ranges let you sit there with your clips with you. No, this is an outdoor range. They're being smart because they're not mall ninjas. A mall ninja has the attitude, oh yeah, let me load myself up with 10,000 rounds and I'm going to carry in belts around me and I'm going to feed them into my magazines. Ugh. Mall ninjas kind of became a thing in the 80s when Soldier of Fortune magazine came out and everybody thought that they were the next Rambo. And again, this is a useful demonstration of having a little weapon like this. Whatever you think your effective combat range is, half it. And that is it. Because I can sit here and lob shells, cartridges, whatever you want to call those things, into that target all day and never miss one. Now, assume for a second, instead, it's another soldier coming up to kill me who's armed with the same thing. I'm going to be nervous. My adrenaline's going to be flowing. I might be shaking a little. Oh, I found the one I lost. That's cool. How the hell did that happen? I don't know. It just fell out somewhere else. But anyway, thought I was lucky. But anyways, in that situation, you're human. You're not a cartoon character. And that's something mall ninjas don't understand. They think just by having 15 guns around the house, they're going to somehow be able to fend off the police, the military, whoever else comes their way. And they're not. First mistake, first way you can spot a mall ninja is they will have 16 types of guns with 16 different calibers, 16 different bullet types. Now, for the ease of supply chain, you want to make sure your stuff is interchangeable. So, if you're going to go with a 22 round, you're going to go with a 22 pistol and 22 rifle. Because you never know. Okay, let's pretend you're in the country because it doesn't make sense to have a gun in the city. Hence why I got the Nerf gun. Hence the lead in, the inspiration for these 2 videos. Doesn't make sense to have a gun in the city because I'm not living in an American inner city where, supposedly guns and drugs and violence are bad. Even though they're nowhere close to what they were in the 80s, people still have that perception. The other thing is mall ninjas are convinced they can win a fight with the police or the military. No, you can't. Even putting myself in my peak physical condition in the military with the most friends and the most resources I could rely upon, the police and the military are going to win every single time. And do you know why? Very simple. They outnumber me hundreds to 1. And if they run out of soldiers or police or whatever, they go to the next town over and get more to come in. And they bring in SWAT teams. They bring in armored people. They bring in snipers. They bring in drones. They bring in helicopters. They bring in stealth aircraft. So that's the easiest way to tell the difference between a mall ninja and someone who is actually interested in firearms, but, a healthy interest. A mall ninja is going to say, yeah, I can take them all on. No, you can't. You might recall the Koresh group down with Branch Davidian tried that, and it did not work out for them. And it will not work out in 2021 when they have technology we cannot even dream of, and they have it already running operational in the field. The F-22 and F-35 are not the pinnacle of things that they can bring against you. And trust me, even the police get some equipment they don't tell you about. They don't show all their tricks because There's always going to be some idiot that tries to pull a Pulp Fiction and hold up a small little place and keep people hostage. Well, the police know that. They're prepared. They follow the Boy Scout motto, be prepared. So, mall ninjas are not bad people necessarily. They like being around big toys, and they see guns as big toys. But as we established in our last video, they're not necessarily toys. If I pulled out a regular gun and put it in that target, it would go through it, would go through the glass behind it, and it would possibly injure my friends. That's one of the reasons I don't fire the Nerf gun outside. If one of those things happened to go over the fence, my neighbors have dogs. I like my neighbors. I like my dogs. And I'm that considerate of a person, I'm sitting here going, yeah, even the chance of a dog eating that thing and choking on it is very slim. But just as I wouldn't do it to you, one of my listeners, I wouldn't do it to my neighbors. I like good neighbors. I like my neighbors thinking well of me. And this is, again, the difference between a mall ninja mentality and an actual connoisseur mentality. A mall ninja will be, this is my property, I'm going to do what I want. Well, it is my property, I do what I want. At the same token, I have a community responsibility. And that is to make sure that whatever I do keeps them safe. I can do what I like on my property as long as they keep safe. I used to have a raccoon problem, and one of my friends suggested putting up a spotlight on a motion detector to keep them away. And I was originally going to do that, and then I remembered the only angle to put it up on would pretty much shine it directly into one of my neighbor's bedrooms. Now, my raccoons are gone. I didn't need to put that spotlight in there to scare them off. But you see, it's a little thing. It's just a matter of thinking, okay, yes, I can do what I want on my property, but how does it affect the people around me? And that level of consideration is rarely found in mall ninjas. Like I said, they think they can take on the police. They think they can take on the military. They think they're Rambo. They can take on the world. Well, you can't. Sorry. I'm one of the most optimistic people, and I can come up with a plan for almost anything. But you give me okay, let's just round it up to a section. 6 to 8 guys, fully trained, fully armed, and exactly what I want, and they're going to take on the local police force. That's it. The police are going to win. No questions. They have numbers, they have firepower, they have tactics, we have tactics. They're going to win because they can throw more people at the problem, they can put more resources, because most groups of 8 people aren't going to have a helicopter or a plane or be able to call in a military airstrike. Mall ninjas think they can win. Oh, if enough of us stand up against the government. Yeah, but have you noticed that most people aren't interested in standing up against the government? You're preaching to people, but they're not buying what you're selling. But the mall ninja type is convinced, oh yeah, my $40 Japanese katana is just as good as the real thing. No, it isn't. And you're going to be in a real surprise about the second time you go to use it. First time, okay, maybe you get lucky, maybe the stars align. Second, the third, the fourth, every single time you swing that thing, you're going to find out that steel is just not very strong. And neither is your willpower. Like I said, it's easy to sit there at a targeting range and hit things, 100 yards, 400 yards, etc. Without my glasses, I can hit 100 yards. But in real life, when someone's coming at you and they're trying to kill you, you're starting to breathe heavy, which means if you're breathing heavy, you can't do the aiming trick where you breathe in, you hold your breath, squeeze gently, and fire. No, they're coming at you, you got to get rounds down. Your accuracy is crap. Mall ninjas never recognize this. Oh no, I wouldn't have that problem. Really? 100 zombies coming at you, you're not going to be shaking? Then you don't understand the situation. Oh, I can hold off against the police. You don't understand the situation. Mall ninjas just took 80s action movies too far. And if they were born after the 80s, then they took whatever the most recent action movie was too far. Truth is, pull a trigger, somebody dies. That's a mentality that you have to have. Pull out your blade. The Gurkhas are right. It should draw blood before you put it back in. Sounds brutal, but that's the way it should be. You shouldn't be drawing a blade except either to fence and to upgrade your skills or to kill somebody. Not to show off in front of your friends. Now, that may have pissed off some people, but you know what? I'm okay with that because it's a wake-up call. Don't be a mall ninja. If you are, figure out why you feel compelled to do that. Again, I got no problem with collectors. They want to show off their guns a little, but they also want to go out and fire them. And they take care of everything properly. They understand the difference between a Walther PPK, a Desert Eagle, and a simple old-fashioned 1911. My God, I've forgotten the manufacturer. The 1911 is a wonderful classic weapon whose design has held up for over a century and it's still in production. That's what they appreciate, quality. That's a lot of thoughts, especially for one day. This is all coming through for the video that I have planned for later. Whether later today or later tomorrow, I'm not sure. It depends on when I can get my props together. But anyways, thank you for joining the Silverlight Show. If you enjoyed this, please like, share, and subscribe. We hope you all have a fantastic day.